Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and man, I really appreciate you guys swinging by, visiting the channel and checking the video out. And guys, today we're going to be talking why December 22nd is a very important day for bass anglers. There's something that happens on there that sort of changed everything about what fish do and how you can catch fish out there. So we're going to get into that in today's video. And also guys, before you get started here, just wanted to give everybody a big thank you that's been using my Tackle Warehouse links this month to buy Christmas presents or get ready for spring fishing. I got that link in the description. If you guys visit that and use that link, it's a good way to support the channel. So much appreciated on that. Okay guys, I can tell you right now, December 22nd is one of my favorite days of the year, because the reason is the winter solstice is December 21st, which is the shortest day of the year. It's the shortest daylight hour in the northern hemisphere. It's the point of which the earth, the poles of the earth, the axis of the earth, the tilt is the farthest away from the sun, making us have the longest night and the shortest daylight hour. But what happens on the 22nd is the daylight hours start to get longer. There's incremental increase in the daylight hours, and there's almost like a mental shift, because I think a lot of times a lot of people sort of get down. I don't want to say depressed, but they sort of get down and blue a little bit, especially in the months of November and December. In my opinion, November and December are by far my two least favorite months of the year, simply because you just don't have as much daylight, and humans are creatures of the light. We're not creatures of the dark. So those shorter daylight hours affect a lot of people negatively, and they also affect the bass, is what I want to talk about in today's video. Now, here's the thing that happens when your daylight hours start getting longer every day. You talk about factors that influence bass behavior and bass movement and how bass feed and how they bite on certain different things. And a lot of people equate that to weather patterns like, water temperature, sunlight conditions, sunlight angles, and all that type of stuff. And they do play a part. But guys, one of my theories in bass fishing, and that has been backed up by reproducible results over the decades of bass fishing, is I think a lot of bass movement and behavior and mood and personality and things they bite or don't bite are influenced by the length of the daylight hours. And once you start getting into the period past the winter solstice on December 21st, and you start to move into December 22nd, and every single day starts getting a minute or two longer. I can't remember exactly the length of it, but it's a minute or two longer, something like that. There's change on a deep rhythm, like a biological level of fish. Like it's like a innate intelligence that causes them to do different things. And as those daylight hours increase, that sort of ushers in the next phase of what bass do. I mean, bass are in a deep winter pattern right now in most parts across the country. And that winter pattern that they are in, a lot of people think that that's all about water temperature. Water temperature does have an impact on that, but in my opinion, the daylight hours or the lack of daylight hours is the number one role, even above water temperature, because this is especially true as you get into late winter and maybe into the pre-spawn period and the spawn period, because you notice, like, a lot of times when you see fish beginning the three phases of the spawn, like the pre-spawn, the spawn, and the post-spawn, a lot of people say it's all about water temperature. It's like, yeah, when the water temperature gets 60 degrees, the fish start spawning. If it's below 60, it's in pre-spawn. We've all heard it over and over again. There is an element of truth to that. It's only one factor, but in my opinion, it's the increasing daylight hours that come after the winter solstice that causes the fish to make those changes and causes them to, get into their cycle that they've been going through millions and millions of years that they've been on this planet, of reproduction and feeding and just their life existing on this planet. So, point of the video, guys, is pay close attention to the correlation between the increasing daylight hours and the movement and the mood of the bass, especially when you start getting around the spawn. It's like when that water temperature is between 55 and 65 degrees, that is a magical time in bass fishing, because that's when they're there's so much going on as far as the fish getting ready for that spawning routine and ritual, which is so critical to maintain the sustainability of our sport. If you pay close attention to that and factor that in, don't pay quite as much attention to the water temperature, then it's going to lead to a lot more fish. A prime example about this, guys, is you can there has been so many different situations out there where I anticipate, say, the fish getting into a pre-spawn mode, or say they start moving up onto channel banks and they get on transition areas, staging, waiting to move up shallower to spawn. And in the past, mentally, or not mentally, but in the past, that was all equated to water temperature. People knew when that water temperature started to get up into the mid 50s, those bass were going to start making those transitions in there. But what I have seen in my own experience in fishing is I have seen those bass move into those areas even if the water temperature does not fall into those parameters. And I've seen the same thing with fish spawning. I've seen fish spawning in water way cooler and way warmer than what they should have, because it correlates back to the daylight hours. The daylight hours and the nighttime hours, they affect everything that the bass does far more than any other variable out there, by far out there. And I think that's one thing that doesn't get talked enough about in fishing, is that. So point of the video, guys, is pay attention to the summer and the winter solstice both. It has an impact on what the fish do as far as their mood and behavior out there. And it's just another one of those elements and reasons why bass fishing is the most difficult sport out there, because there's so many dang variables. It's like if there wasn't enough variables with your technique and your lures and your bait colors and all that type of stuff. You got all this stuff to consider about daylight hours and winter and summer solstices. But that's what makes it such a rewarding sport, was because we never learn it all. We never know it all. And that is great, guys. We do never, to all you live scopers out there, we don't want to know everything. We don't need to know everything. Once you know everything, and once you take away from that mystery and the magic, then you've ruined the sport. It's just like getting a package for Christmas, guys. It's like if you're one of those kids that sneak in there and peek and tear open a package and see what you got under the Christmas tree, it takes away that magic and mystery than as if you just open that present up not knowing what's there. It's the same with fishing. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. We'll talk later.